All right, owners, fantasy owners, it is your commissioner here, D-Ball, Daryl Ballard, and this is going to be the first of many video recaps for the NFFL Fantasy Football League. That is National Fantasy Football League. I've been commissioner in a couple of other leagues, Sunday Funday League and another league that we won't talk about. But we're gonna get it started, and we've got set of 10 teams, a lot of competition, a lot of smack talking. I'm really excited about this year. It's gonna be really exciting here. I want to go ahead and get started, and I want to welcome all the owners here. Like I said, we've got a 10-team league here, and we're gonna have fun this year, y'all. First off, I'm the commissioner, Daryl Ballard. I'm Team Revolution. I also want to welcome Team Rosales, Andrew Rosales here. Mike Garza, otherwise known as Team Get Off My Ditka. Anchor's Army, that is Mr. Mike Roman. And then we've got Team Lone Star Stunner, that is Yuhei Kato. Welcome to the league, Yuhei. Jameis Lannister, that is Pat Donahue's team. Interesting team name. Next is I Touchdown there, Alfredo Castellan, the man who got me into fantasy football about 6 or 7 years ago. Welcome to the league. Then there's Alex Haynes, Team Mile High. Him, me, and Alfredo are in the League of Extraordinary Genitals. Yes, that's the league name. Welcome, Alex. Good to have you here. Team Cabrera. That's Saul Cabrera. Welcome to the league. And then finally, Team Tarantulas. That's JT, also from League of Extraordinary Genitals. Welcome to the league. All right, boys and girls, we're going to get started. I don't waste too much time here. I'm going to go ahead and turn that volume down a little bit so you guys can kind of hear what I'm saying. That's how I like to start every video recap with this little bit of a theme music here. All right, guys, so we're going to get started here. Before I get into the projections and, oops. That's what happens when you go live, y'all. Anyway, before we get started with the projections and the draft report card, I want to address a couple things about the league. You guys know this is PPR league, 9 players. Pretty much it. Standard league. I got a flex spot. I didn't do anything too crazy. No defensive players. Nobody wanted to do defensive players. And sorry about that, guys. A little technical difficulties here. That's what happens when you record on your phone. Anyway, kind of getting started. I'm going to talk about a couple of things that I've had heard some rumblings about from a lot of the owners. And see if we can get this right here. Try one more time. What we're going to do, and I'm really sorry about that, guys. My phone's just not cooperating. All right. Hopefully we should be good. I do want to address the roster settings. I had a lot of people that did not like the limit on running backs and wide receivers. Jesus. All right. Let's see. One last time. I think we got it here. All right. So anyway, I want to address that. I put a limit on 5 wide receivers and 5 running backs. The reason I did that, guys, is one, everybody assured me, and pretty much most all of you assured me that you're good at drafting. So therefore, if you're good at drafting, you've got a solid bench. You really don't need to worry about the waiver wire, unless your top players are injured. So the waiver wire isn't that big of a deal, other than bye weeks and, like I said, injured players. So therefore, shouldn't be that big of a deal. Second, I want to make the waiver wire interesting. I don't want to see a bunch of player stashing by teams. That's just not fun at all. Then we get lopsided trades, and I want to see more trades as well. So, you guys, with that limit, you're going to be less apt to dropping a lot of players just because you want to keep them, and it's going to force you to do more trades. So that keeps the league competitive. I don't want to league one through the waiver wire or just getting lucky. I want you to actually do your homework and be good at setting your lineup and make key trades. So that's the reason why I set a player limit. And I got a lot of crying, a lot of bitching about it from owners, which is fine. I don't care. I think when you guys play in this league and you see the competitiveness of it, you're going to appreciate why I set that limit in place. And I also don't have an injured reserve spot. Again, same concept with that. If you're going to drop a player, you want to think twice about it. There's pros and cons to dropping an injured player. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the PUP list is if an NFL player is injured, I think it's a minimum of 8 games. So there's high risk and high reward for grabbing a player that was drafted that was dropped. And let's say you pick up an injured player, you may not have this player for half the season. Now, if it's a high impact player, it may be worth the gamble, but you're sacrificing a roster spot for a guy that's injured that you're not 100% sure when he's going to come back. So I want you guys to really, really think about your roster, make key moves, and not live on the waiver wire. So that's why I did the 5 running back, 5 wide receiver limit. I'm not going to apologize for that. Also, this is a flex spot, or rather, you have a flex spot, so you can run 2 tight ends. Now, a couple of people didn't understand or feel they would never run or start 2 tight ends. Well, depends on how you draft. If you drafted 2 starting tight ends, or one of the tight ends that is on your bench is performing well, why not start 2 tight ends? There's no right way or wrong way in fantasy football. You got a great player, you're going to play that player week in, week out. So, start 2 tight ends. I don't see anything wrong with that. Now, is that highly likely? Probably not. There's a small list of good tight ends, but you never know. This forces you to really be savvy about fantasy. All right, so enough of that. We're going to save the rest of the bitching for that on your comments. You guys can comment on the league or put league notes, message each other, message me. So we'll save that for another day. We may even have a poll on that. At this point, I can't change that list, but for next year, if you guys want to have a higher limit, I'll let you guys vote on it. I'm open to that. But as it stands this year, we're 5 running backs, 5 wide receiver limit roster on each team. And that's not going to change at all. All right, so let's kind of go ahead and move on. The next thing I want to address here is kind of going over the draft report card. Now, obviously, in this league, as I mentioned earlier, drafting is hugely important because you're going to have a roster limit on your running backs and your wide receivers, as my phone is about to take another dip here. Hang on one second, guys. Sorry about that. Next week, I'll have a better setup for the video reports. This is kind of like me doing this on the fly. My first time doing this with my Galaxy S8. And no, you iPhone owners out there, I will not get an iPhone. Sorry, guys. Give me 1 second here. Hang on 1 second. All right. Let's see. See if we can get this right. It's gonna be a challenge. All right, let's see. Hang on 1 second. All right, let's see. Hopefully this will work. Again, I do apologize, guys. I'll figure it out next week. All right, let's go ahead and move on. Let's see. Let's talk about the draft report card here. Now, unfortunately, ESPN did not do a draft report card ranking. So I don't have an official draft report card, but I kind of analyze everybody's team, and I kind of made my own report card, so feel free to agree or disagree with me. I've been doing fantasy for about 7 years, so won a couple leagues. Again, take my opinion with a grain of salt, but this is just kind of my analysis, and I'll explain why I gave every team the grade that I did. Overall, everybody drafted well. There was two teams that had a C grade. It was a C plus grade, so I felt they were above average. Nobody got a D, nobody got an F, nobody drafted bad, so this is going to be a good league. From what I saw on the draft, I saw everybody really doing a good job doing their homework, getting good players. So I'm very excited for the league we're going to have. We're going to have a lot of parity, in my opinion. So the first team that I will focus on and talk about is my team, Team Revolution. I did good. I'm not going to toot my own horn. I thought I did good. Nothing stellar. I felt I did really good. I drafted well-rounded. I give myself an A. My starting core is well-rounded. Most of the players, pretty much almost all of them, are owned in 100% of leagues in ESPN. So I did really good. My weakness on my team is probably running back, but running backs are they're hard to come by. And we got a good draft, so everybody really drafted well. Running backs went pretty quick. Next team is Team Rosales. Andrew Rosales. I almost said Anthony. Andrew, you got a B on your report card. Team was very good, but kind of slightly top heavy. Your bench left a little bit to be desired. Jaquiz Rogers, I think he's good in PPR. Burkhead, good. I saw you picked up Ravens defense. You didn't draft that player. I think that was just a waiver pickup. Dak Prescott's okay. Forte's gonna be okay. I probably should have given you a B plus, but I'll give you B plus on that. I'll post these results on the league page, and I'll upgrade you to B plus. But no home run hitters really. Well, home run hitters yes, but the bench was a little weak. Next team is Get Off My Ditka. That is Mike Garza's team. Mike, I gave you a B plus. Again, just like Andrew, your teams was pretty well rounded. You got a good starting core. I like Julio Jones, Christian McCaffrey, maybe a little bit of a reach, but I think he's gonna have a good year with Carolina. Although that's gonna be a split backfield, so I don't know if he's gonna right off the bat produce the way you want. Brady's solid. If Gordon stays healthy, he's good. Deshaun Jackson, I think he'll have another good year in Tampa Bay. The bench didn't really entice me. Corey Davis decent. Mariota's going to be good. Not bad at all. Really good team, honestly. Nothing that really caught my eye as far as home run hitters. He didn't have as many as I would warrant an A rating or an A grade on your draft. Next team here is Anchor's Army. That's Mike Roman's team here. Mike, now I gave you a C plus actually, so you're a little bit above average. Your bench, I felt you kind of reached a couple players. Evan Ingram, starting tight ends, they don't really produce their first year. He is a Giant. I know you're a Giant fan, so I'm hoping that's not a homer pick. Wacko Flacco, I think he's gonna be mediocre, but I didn't I didn't put too much stock in a secondary quarterback because Russell Wilson is your starting quarterback. He should stay healthy this year. Anything's possible, but Flacco I'm not sold on. But hopefully you're just be playing him Russell Wilson's bye week. Jared Cook's mediocre. Wasn't really excited about him. I'm not sure about Lacey or Matthews. Unfortunately, I drafted those guys in another league, so I'm worried about those two in another league myself. Decent team, but your starting core is pretty good. Jonathan Stewart and Crowell are starters, but they're not top tier guys. Your biggest player is AJ Green. He's going to get you, if he stays healthy again, he's going to be a top 5 wide receiver in fantasy, in my opinion. So I wasn't too impressed, but I give you above average. You're overall somewhat solid. The next team here is what do we got here? Team Lone Star Stunners. That is Yuhei Kato's team. Yuhei, I gave you a B plus. So I felt you drafted well. Not many home run hitters. Really, the guy on your team I like who's going to be really solid is going to be Jordy Nelson. I would say Gronk, but he's always injury prone, so I'm not sure on that. Broncos D is always solid, usually solid every year. C.J. Anderson, boom bust guy as far as running backs. LeGarrette Blount, Roethlisberger will be good. O.J. Howard again, rookie tight end. He's projected to have a good year, but you got Cameron Brate for Tampa Bay. He's still going to get some snaps. Antonio Gates, not solid on him. Hunter Henry probably went before him, I'm sure. So yeah, I feel you did good. B plus, not quite an A, because you got good home run hitters. My concern is their health. That's it. Next is Jameis Lannister. That is Pat Donahue's team. Pat, me and you talk a lot of shit about a lot of things. You know your fantasy. I gave you an A. I expected you to draft really well. Balance, none of your players really wowed me other than David Johnson, but I think you had second pick, so, Le'Veon Bell and David Johnson, that's 1 and 2 interchangeably. I like Brandon Cooks. I really want to get Brandon Cooks early, so that, for me, that really got you above a B+. Of course, Reed as well. Fortunately, he has health issues. Who else you got on here? Jamal Charles, I think it's a good pickup. famous Jameis Winston. That's your backup quarterback. Moncrief, I like for Indianapolis. Obviously, when Luck gets back, he's gonna be the second in command as far as go-to guys on a wide receiver in the wide receiver department. Austin Hooper was a bit of a reach. Jaguars D, I think that was your main pickup in defense, but you went with Giants this week against the Cowboys, which I probably wouldn't go with, but teach its own on that. I think Cowboys now again, Giants D really did a number against my Cowboys. I'm a Cowboys fan, so I can kind of understand you going with that. I think we're going to be ready for the Giants, and I don't think it's going to be the same performance as or the same type of result as last year. Patrick, you can feel free to disagree with me, which I'm sure you will. All right, moving on. We've got I Touchdown there. It's Alfredo Castellan's team. Alfredo, you're one of the four mentioned experts in fantasy. Won a couple of leagues. Taught me a lot about fantasy. I appreciate that. Now, as far as your team in this draft is concerned, I wasn't too impressed, man. I gave you a C+. I felt your team was a little bit above average. Zeke, you reached for Zeke. You took him in the first round. I was eyeing him in the second round, just because of the fact that he's suspended 6 games. He's going to play this week. I think at some point he's going to serve that suspension. If he doesn't, then it obviously propels you to B+. But your starting wide receivers, Dez and DeAndre, I'm not sold on. And I'm a Cowboys fan, but I don't see Dez having a top 5 wide receiver fantasy year. Neither do I see DeAndre Hopkins. Again, I have DeAndre Hopkins in another league, so I'm worried about him. Kelsey is a top 5 tight end. Pierre Garçon is a good flex spot for you. Your backups, Robert Kelly, not sold on him. Theo Riddick, not sold on him. Mike Wallace will be solid. Jay Witten's solid, but not startable. But he's your backup. So I really wasn't thrilled with your team, Alfredo. But not a bad team. But I'm just really overall, I'm not really sold on that team. All right, so next team we're going to talk about as far as draft report card grades is Team Mile High. Alex Haynes, my boy Alex, my main man Alex. All right, Alex, I gave you an A. I felt your team top to bottom was solid. Your bench, your guys, the guys you have on your bench, they can start in a lot of leagues. The highlights on your team: Antonio Brown, Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Howard, who I think is going to have a phenomenal year. I think he's going to be top 5 running back in fantasy. Carlos Hyde has a propensity to do that, or the ability to do that, provided he stays healthy. Sanders is going to be good. I don't think he's going to be stellar. Again, I don't trust Paxton Lynch for Denver. James White, good flex. Jimmy Graham, solid. So overall, your team is good. I like your bench. Jay Cutler will sneak up on people. Frank Gore is going to be solid. Decker's injury risk, but when he does play, he's a touchdown monster for being a slot receiver. At least he was that way in New Jersey. I'm sorry, New York Jets, that is. He's going to Tennessee, so I think if he stays healthy, he's going to have a consistent year, a better year. Your team's really good. Good job. Next team here is, let's see what we got here. Team Cabrera. Saul Cabrera's team. So I gave you a B. Team's balanced. The bench is mediocre. Really good team. Your wide receivers, Michael Thomas, Baldwin, solid. LaShawn McCoy, I love. Bench, McFadden, he's part of a good offensive line. He's an injury risk. Got a lengthy history of injuries. But with that offensive line in Dallas, he's gonna be solid. Rawls, it all depends on his health and kind of how that backfield's gonna be split in Seattle. Gio Bernard, not in love with. Tyrod Taylor, not in love with. So your bench, I'm not really too solid on. It's above average, the team overall. So your bench guys could start. So I give you a B. I don't give you above average. I give you a B. Last but not least is JT's team, Team Tarantula. Last team that I'm going to talk about as far as draft report cards, and the team that I felt drafted the best. JT, I gave you an A+. Overall solid, just solid team overall. Andrew Luck is in your bench. That was a kind of flyer pickup because he may not play the first few weeks, but when he does play and he gets healthy, Andrew Luck's going to be a top 10, maybe top 5 quarterback in fantasy. Hunter Henry's a good pickup. That's a startable tight end. That's in your bench. Your starting tight end, Zach Ertz. Those guys are interchangeable. You could start Ertz or Hunter Henry. I think they're going to be 2 top 10 tight ends. So you may be one of the owners that has a scenario where you're starting 2 tight ends on your team. Snead is suspended for the first, 3 or 6 games. He's on your bench. John Brown's the only guy I don't like on your team. Tevin Coleman, I think, is a good handcuff for Atlanta. Duke Johnson, again, another handcuff. But your team is solid overall, man. I like Freeman. Devonta Freeman's going to be top 5. Kirk Cousins is going to be top 5 quarterback. Bilal Powell is going to be top 10. Terrell Pryor is probably going to be top 10, maybe top 5. Golden Tate, top 15. So you drafted well overall. Your team's solid, man. I think just based on draft and statistics, I think I'm projecting you to win this league. Again, once players start playing on the field, anything can change. So we'll see. But good job, JT, and welcome to the league. I've been commissioner in a couple other leagues, and most of you guys, a lot of you guys on here, you've never had a commissioner like me. So I hope you enjoy the league. If you don't, fuck you. No, I'm kidding, JT. You my boy. But I hope you enjoy the league, and good luck to you and your team. All right. Kind of a lengthy recap, so I'm not going to really go too much further in the projections. I want to keep this kind of short. So a lot of stuff we had to go over. We talked a lot about the draft report card. So I think the only other thing I'm going to talk about or touch up on quickly will be projections. I'll highlight a couple of matchups this week, and then I'll talk about the game of the week in the NFL. Really, overall, I think it's gonna be a close matchup this week. Me and Mike, I think what we're looking at here, I think I'm projected to beat you by 4. So that's gonna be a close matchup there. What else we got here? I'm just kind of looking over everything here. Again, really no runaway projections this week. So I think we're going to have a really contested league. The closest one from what I'm looking at here, projection-wise, is going to be Texas Tarantulas and Anchor's Army. Now, Mike, I gave you a C+, and then Jimmy's team, I gave you an A+ as far as draft grade. So why is this projected to be a close matchup? Well, what's up with that? Well, it's this little scenario or a little dynamic called matchups. So based on who your players are playing, as far as teams are going up against, the projection is kind of making it close between both of those teams here. So this looks to be a pretty close matchup, even though I think Jimmy's team is overall better. So we'll see. So that's pretty interesting here. Again, projections, I take those with a grain of salt. I don't put too much stock in projections at all. We'll see. Overall, things going to be close this week. Again, we're going to have a really, really competitive league, a lot of parity. I don't think you're going to see a lot of runaway teams, in my opinion, unless there's injuries involved or just a couple of players that none of us expect to go off and just have a great year. So I think it'll be a really competitive year. I'm going to kind of end this recap this week we're talking about the game of the week. Game of the week is going to be the Sunday night game. That is the Cowboys versus the Giants. I'm a Cowboys fan. I got a couple of Giants owners here. A couple of owners who are Giants fans. I'm thinking the Cowboys are going to take this. I think we thought about last year and how we lost to the Giants. 0-2 in the regular season. Giants fans throw that in my face. I've been throwing it in my face all year, all last year, all this year. So I think we're gonna stop that noise. I think we can get them week 1. So feel free to agree or disagree with me. I don't care. Next week we will be in the high gear. We'll have a poll. I'm going to do a poll this week. I want you guys to vote and be active on it. And we'll have a full week under our belt as far as scores. We'll recap the league. We'll recap the week. Week 1, that is. And we'll have some trophies. I'll talk about the trophies next week. So that's pretty exciting. I think you guys will be interested to see some of the trophies I came up with. If you've went on the league page and you looked at some of the images I did on some of the trophies, I hope you weren't eating dinner when you saw some of those images. But yeah, it's a little humor in that. Anyway, we're gonna go ahead and end it here. Good luck, owners. You guys get me. Everybody has my number. If you don't have my personal cell number, I'll go ahead and post it on the league page. I'm gonna also go ahead and post a poll. And I'm go ahead and post the draft report card based on what I saw myself. And feel free to agree or disagree. Other than that, good luck this year. And we will do another video recap next week where we will have 1-0, 0-1 teams to talk about. Other than that, good luck. This is D-Ball, Daryl Ballard from Studio DB signing out. And I'll see you owners next week.